Hello everyone, welcome back. I wanted to record a short video to show you how to reuse a function that you define in one Python notebook in other notebooks without the need to copy and paste the function definition across the different notebooks, okay? So I wanted to show you a kind of more efficient way of doing that, okay? To do that, I prepared this notebook, which I'm going to share with you in the video description. What I want to do here is I want to run a regression analysis. And for that regression analysis, I want to compute adjusted R-squared. The thing is that to run regression, I'm using scikit-learn. In scikit-learn, there is no built-in function to compute adjusted R-squared. So that's why I need to define my own function. And what I want to show you is how to then reuse that function definition in other notebooks, different from this one, okay? All right, so let's go ahead and start by importing the libraries and functions that I need for this video. Okay, that's the first code cell. And now in this second code cell, what I'm doing is I am mounting Google Drive into Colab because I need Colab to access files in Google Drive. So that's why we need to do the mounting, okay? Let's go ahead and do that. Perfect, done. And now, in terms of the regression that I want to do for this video, I want to apply regression with the process data set. In the process data set, the target or outcome variable is LPSA. And what I want to do is I want to obtain a regression equation to predict the target, LPSA, based on two predictors only, L cabot and L weight. And I want to compute, as I told you earlier, adjusted R square for that equation, okay? Okay, so let me go ahead and load the process data set into this. Oh, it's already loaded here, but let me show you how to load it. Let me remove it and load it back. If you need to load the process data set, which I have the process data set as a CSV file, which by the way, I can also share in the video description. What you need to do is, if you have the file locally, which I do, just upload it to the Colab notebook right here. You upload it, find it locally, go ahead and upload it. All right, and there you have it. Again, I can share this CSV file as well with you. And once you have the CSV file locally now in your Colab notebook, you can create a path to that CSV file. That's the path to that CSV file. They store the path in a variable, and then you use read underscore CSV to convert the CSV file into a data frame. And now you can use that data frame for the regression analysis, okay? So here is LPSA, which is the target, and here are the two predictors, L cabot and L weight. All right, so I want to compute adjusted R square um, for that equation, the equation to predict LPSA based on these two predictors. As I told you, in scikit-learn, there is no built-in function to compute adjusted R square, so I need to define my own function. And this is my function definition. This function definition implements that formula to compute adjusted R square, okay? So there you have it. This function takes three arguments: the value of R squared, not adjusted R squared, the value of R squared, the sample size, and the number of predictors, and then it returns the adjusted R squared value. Okay, good. Okay, so let me go ahead and run that code cell. And once you execute that code cell, obviously in this notebook right here, you can invoke this function as many times as you want. Okay, and I'm gonna show you that invocation works in this notebook, and then later I'm gonna show you that you can also invoke it in other notebooks as long as you do the steps that I'm gonna show you. Okay. Anyway, so let's make sure that at least in this notebook that function works. And all right, so let's apply regression. The regression that I told you earlier to predict LPSA based on these two predictors. Here we are applying regression based on these two predictors. Here I store the regression results. Now I use the regression results to predict LPSA based on these two predictors. And here I store the predictions, okay, given by that equation. In the next code cell, I compute R squared, okay, not adjusted R squared, but R squared, which I imported here, okay. A function to compute R squared was imported here. Cool, cool, cool. And then I stored the value of R squared in that variable. And then with the value of R squared, I can go ahead and do what? Invoke. Notice that I am invoking the adjusted R squared calculator function that I defined right here with the three arguments that I told you. The R squared value, the sample size, and the number of predictors, 2 in this case. And sure enough, when we run that, we get 0.5869. And if you want to convert it into a percentage, it would be 58.69%. So obviously, as I told you, because I define that function here, I can invoke it in this notebook as many times as I want. But what if I want to do this? What if I want to use the function to compute adjusted R-squared in a different notebook without copy and pasting the function definition? Because you can always copy the function definition and paste it in other notebooks. But what if you want to do it in a more efficient way? Well, I'm going to show you one way of doing that. This is not the only way, but I'm going to show you one way that I think is pretty simple. Okay. Okay. To be able to do that, you need to take 2 steps. The first step is you need to choose a destination in your Google Drive to create a Python file, a .py file, okay, with that function definition. And you need to select a name for that file. So you need to think about a name for that file because you're going to create that file. And you need to also choose a location for that file. So 2 things. Think about a name for the file and then a location for the file. The location that I chose was in my drive was actually this one, in Drive, inside this notebook, more specifically inside this other notebook right here. I want to create that file right there. Okay, that .py file. I want to create it right here. Okay, and the path to this specific location in my drive will be this one right there. Okay, that's why here I'm saying this is my chosen destination. Okay, that is the path to that right there. That first part is the path to that location in my Google Drive. Notice that the first part of the path, content, drive, my drive, it's common to all of us, okay? But then the second part, like that folder and then this other folder is specific to my Google Drive, okay? So that's the path. But not only that, you need to specify the path. And notice that the last part is what? It's the file itself, the .py file that I want to create, okay? And then you need to choose a name for that file. I chose that name, adjusted R-squared calculator file .py. So you cannot forget to add the .py extension, otherwise the file will not be created, okay? So, okay, I chose the path in my Google Drive to the file and then a name for the file, okay? Perfect. Once you do that, you're going to copy this with the quotes and everything, okay? You're going to copy that, right? And then you're going to paste it right after this magic command. This is a magic command that, as the name indicates, is going to write a file to a specified location. So that's why I told you you're gonna copy all of that. Okay, you're gonna copy that, and you're gonna paste it right here. Notice that that's exactly the path. That's exactly this same path. Okay, with the last part of the path is actually the .py file. Okay. And right below the magic command, you need to include the code that you want this file to include. What code do I want this file to include? The function definition. This function definition. Okay. This function definition. Okay. And that's exactly what we have here. The function definition. But notice that we have one more thing, and this is something that you need to be clear about. If in your function definition you are using one or more specific libraries, you need to import those libraries before the function definition. In the function definition, I do use NumPy, so that's why right before the function definition, I need to import NumPy. If your function definition uses 3 or 4 libraries, you need to import them all before the function definition, okay? Now, this is what is going to happen. I'm going to run that code cell, and as you will see in this location, a .py file with that name, adjusted R-squared calculator file, will be created. Okay, so let's run that. And if we go back to this location, after a few seconds, you're going to see the file. But if you don't want to wait a few seconds, you can refresh. And after you refresh, sure enough, you are going to see refresh again. There you have it. After you refresh again, you're going to see the file right there. That's the file that we created, adjusted R-squared calculator file, .py, okay? Perfect. Good. Now we are in conditions to invoke this function definition in our notebooks, okay? How? Oh, I'm going to show you in a second. As a matter of fact, I can go ahead and close this notebook right now. We don't need this notebook open at all. Okay, just remember, because uh, I want to make sure that we get the same result, that the adjusted R squared that we get when we use this function for this specific problem is 58.69%. Okay, so remember that number, 58.69%. Okay, and yeah, we can go ahead and close this notebook. Okay, perfect. Now let's say that a few hours later, after you did this, you open a new notebook, which is notebook number 2 in my case, okay? A few hours later, and in this new notebook, you want to invoke the function to compute adjusted R squared. How to do that without copy and pasting? Let me show you. Okay, first, since I'm gonna replicate the same regression analysis, I am importing the same functions again, okay? And we need to do the mounting as well, okay? To the mountain, I'm going to stop sharing momentarily because I don't want to share too much information. So as I do the mountain, I'm going to stop sharing briefly, very briefly. All right. So it's going to be very, very quick. And mountain is almost done. Let me share back. All right. So we need to mount again because, again, we need Colab to be able to access files in Google Drive. All right. So we're doing the same problem, the same regression analysis with the prostate data set. So we need the prostate data set in this notebook. Okay, so we need to upload it back to this notebook because this is a different notebook, right? So there you have it. Same thing to read the CSV file into a data frame, and now we're going to repeat the same regression analysis with these two predictors. Same thing, same thing. Okay, predict. Here we are computed R square, which we need to be able to compute adjusted R square. And once we have R square, we can go ahead and compute adjusted R square. But how can I invoke the function to compute adjusted R square? Well, this is what you need to do. You need to add the folder containing the file with the function definition to the Python path. Okay, how do you do that? You import the system functions and then you append the path to the file to the Python path. Okay, and that's the way you do it. Okay. Notice that what we are appending here, guys, is what is the path to the file. But in that path, we don't include the files, the file itself, right? So we include the path. We don't include the file itself. We include the path to the file. Okay. So that's very important. Okay. So add the folder containing the file with the function definition to the Python path. Good. Let's run that. Great. And now we are ready from this notebook to import the function definition. How? Like this. We can say from that file, adjusted R squared calculator file, right? That one, which is already the path to that file is already included in the Python path. Okay, that's what we just did here. Okay, from that file, let's go ahead and import that function. And obviously, this function is inside that file. Remember, we did it earlier. When we wrote this file, we wrote the function definition inside this file, right? So we can import from this file that function definition. And sure enough, once we do that, guys, ta-da, we can go ahead and in this new notebook, without copy and pasting the function definition, we can invoke the function I just said, R squared calculator. And sure enough, what do we get? The same results, 58.69, okay? All right, guys, that's the way you do it. That's the way you do it. Again, one of the ways, but yeah, very simple. From the notebook where you define the function, you use that magic command to write a .py file with the function definition. And then in other notebooks, you need to make sure to add the path to the .py file to the Python path. And after that, you run this import statement from the file, you import the function definition, and after that, you can invoke the function definition as many times as you want in other notebooks, okay? But you need to do this, guys. Don't forget, you need to do this for any other notebook where you want to invoke the function again, okay? So like if now you open a third notebook and you want to invoke this this function, you need to repeat this step again, okay? All right, guys, so that's all I wanted to show you. And thank you for watching. I will see you in another video. Bye.